The phrase yeehaw didn't actually come from cowboys. It came from the Chinese railroad workers of the 1800s and is the Anglicization of ni hao. You can't see shadows in a mirror because mirrors reflect light and shadows are the absence of light. Technically, the coconut is a mammal because it grows hair and produces milk. Hey man, can I talk to you really quick? Yeah, what's up? These facts that you're doing, they're fake. Yeah? You can't just do fake facts on people. Why not? Because you're the fun fact person on TikTok and people expect you to be educational and tell the truth. Okay, but these are funny and obviously fake. They're not obviously fake, okay? Somebody might think they're real. You tell them with such confidence. It is not my fault if somebody thinks a coconut is a mammal, okay? It is though because you explained it really well and I'm confused. I don't even know it's real anymore.
Did you know that the way you sleep can tell a lot about your personality? The fetal position. Many people, including myself, sleep this way because it offers a sense of safety. Those who favor curling up like a baby tend to be really sensitive but project a tough exterior. The log. Sleep specialists say that if this is your favorite way to sleep, you're probably really easygoing, social, and relatively trusting of others. The yearner. This is similar to log sleepers in the sense that you have a really open nature, but you're more cynical and not as gullible. The soldier. If you sleep on your back with your arms to your sides, you're more likely to wake up refreshed. You hold yourself to high standards, and when asked, you probably say that you sleep this way due to medical benefits. Except your snoring probably annoys people. The free faller. This is the worst position to sleep in, but if you prefer it, you're more likely bold and highly sociable, but you don't have the thickest skin when it comes to taking criticism. The starfish. You're known to be more selfless, even though everybody kind of thinks you're a bed hog. The pillow hugger. You like to be cozy and cuddle, and you hold high value to close personal bonds, and you cherish your relationships over everything else. The thinker. If you sleep on your side with one hand under your chin so it looks like you're lost in contemplative thoughts, it signals that you have high emotions. You live life on an emotional roller coaster and it keeps the people around you on their toes. The stargazer. This is one of the least popular sleeping positions because it's one of the most vulnerable. If you sleep like this, you're really happy, easygoing, and sure of who you are. Fully covered. If you sleep completely under the blankets 100% of the time, you're afraid of taking risks and getting hurt. 1 foot out. People who sleep like this want one thing and one thing only, and that's comfort in all aspects of their life. Head over the edge. This sleeping position is tied with people who want to escape their day-to-day life and desperately want change. It also causes a lot of headaches. Is your school spying on you? I'd put money down and say that your school gave you a laptop to use for your studies. If so, open up Google Chrome on your computer and type in chrome://policy. This is going to allow you to see what your admin, aka your school, has allowed on the device. If you open it up and there's nothing there, that is a good sign. But if some policies actually pop up, you're going to want to click these link out buttons to see what the policies actually mean. When you click on that, if there's anything related to video capture allowed or screen record allowed, your school is watching everything you do. I'd recommend covering that webcam up. Marijuana is addictive. No matter what anybody tries to say or tell you to convince themselves, it is. So after 10 years of smoking, I've finally been able to acknowledge this and decide that it's time for me to stop. The first 3 days were definitely the most difficult. I had this constant excruciating headache that wouldn't go away no matter how much water I drank, and my appetite was non-existent. I was trying to force myself to eat and it just wasn't happening, and my insomnia that I thought I had beaten a year ago came back. There's me watching the sunrise, and my energy level was just on the floor. I couldn't get through any of my workouts, and that was extremely frustrating for me. And I was also just really irritable. Like, every little thing was setting me off. Here's my dogs trying to cheer me up after I was crying about a mess that they had made. Today's day 7. Feeling better, but not great. But I do appreciate all you guys' support on my original video announcing that I'm gonna quit. So yeah, I'll keep y'all updated on this journey.
What is something that you grew up thinking was a major luxury? Like you could only have it if you had money?
If you had stairs in your house, I thought you were a millionaire. If you had Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, I was so jealous of you because for a while we only had PBS Kids. Going out to eat at restaurants, but also being allowed to get appetizers. Any Lunchables that weren't just ham, cheese, and crackers. Having your own bedroom was just a wild concept to me, but then I met kids that had bathrooms attached to their bedrooms and I was just like, your parents That's rich. Those fridges that had a water dispenser on the outside and like made their own ice. Any box of crayons that had more than 8 colors. The concept of a vacation that wasn't just going to grandma's house. Boxed cereal. We only bought the ones that came in the huge bags. Grass. If you're ever walking around and you feel like somebody's following you, just slow down. Okay, you're probably just a little bit paranoid, but there are a couple things you can do to help you get you out of the situation. First of which is to pick up the pace, okay? If this person is following you, they're gonna speed up too. If they have started speeding up with you and you're wearing a hoodie, okay, tuck the hoodie into your shirt, and if you're wearing a ponytail, take the ponytail out. This is gonna stop them from just like grabbing you. Also make sure you don't just walk home, you know? Why are you leading this person to your house? Instead, make a right turn and then make another right turn and another right turn and another right turn. You're gonna make a full circle. If this person has made a full circle with you, it's time to start panicking. You got a few options, okay? The most dangerous of which is to turn around and make direct eye contact with them. This will probably throw them off and they might leave you alone. Second of which is to wave to the first random person that you see, pretend that you know them. They'll probably leave you alone now that they think you're not alone. Or you could walk to a police or fire station because I doubt they'll follow you in there. If you're planning on traveling abroad, never do these things. Going to anywhere in the Caribbean, don't wear camo. It's illegal for civilians to do so. If you're traveling to Greece, don't pack your high heels because you won't be allowed at any of the ancient sites because your shoes could damage it. In American culture, not tipping makes you an asshole, but in Japan, tipping makes you the asshole. Just don't do it. They're not gonna accept it and it's gonna be really awkward. If you're grabbing a bite to eat in China, make sure you don't finish all the food on your plate, okay? In our culture, it's a sign of like, oh, the food was really good. But in theirs, it's a sign of like, oh, I didn't give you enough food to eat and it can be considered rude. In India, make sure you're careful about which hand you're using because your right hand is used for eating food, greeting other people, but your left hand is used for wiping your ass or cleaning your feet, and it can be very insulting if you mix the two. I can kind of see what the logic here is trying to be, but don't do this. If your house is on fire, get out of the fucking house. Going in the shower is gonna do nothing except maybe preserve your dead body to be identified easier. Maybe. Standing in the shower is not gonna do anything to help prevent smoke inhalation. You're still gonna inhale all of it, pass out, and die. Your water pipes are also probably being heated up by said fire, meaning you're just gonna get hit with boiling water. And having a glass door might save you a couple minutes, but if you don't have this and it's just a shower curtain, that's gonna light on fire. And if your house is on fire, that means the structure is probably coming down, meaning you're going to get crushed in by the roof and die. Just look up pictures of houses that have burnt down and try to identify where the shower is. You can't. If you're somebody who's still in school, you need to know these hacks. If you ever have to research something that's kind of complex, just delete this EN dot and type in simple dot and Wikipedia will dumb it down for you. And if reading in that format ever just gets too difficult, you can always type in the subject you need to learn about, followed by file type :PPT, and a bunch of different PowerPoint presentations on the subject are gonna pop up. I swear to God, if I ever see any one of you spending money on a textbook, I will crawl through this screen and beat your ass. Type in the name of the book your teacher's trying to get you to buy, followed by file type :PDF, and the whole textbook will just appear for free. So I just started my period, and it got me thinking, how the hell did women of the past deal with this? Because they didn't have pads or tampons or Midol or menstruation crustaceans. Like, how did they do it? So I did some digging, and it turns out a lot of ancient cultures just tried to use paper to absorb the blood. It was the ancient Greeks that took a small piece of wood, covered it in lint, and used that to plug it up. It was Native Americans that used a mixture of moss and buffalo skin to make the world's first natural pad. During the medieval times, a lot of women used this makeshift rag underwear, but it wasn't like a disposable thing, you know? Like, you were on the rag, you had your rag. It wasn't until the mid-1800s that the sanitary apron was introduced, which was this rubber sheet that ran in between your legs to stop the blood from getting on your clothes. It was actually World War I nurses that paved the way for the first sanitary napkin. In 1931, tampons were invented, and I thought it was a modern trend, but the menstrual cup was invented in the 1930s. But then questions around virginity started happening, so people leaned more into pads, and in the 60s, they added the adhesive strip.
ADHD hacks that I wish I knew sooner.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me over. What do you want to do? Oh, I invited you over to be my body double for the day. What? Well, I was hoping that you kind of just sit there while I got some stuff done. So you just want me to sit here while you do stuff? Not help or anything? No, okay, just you being here is gonna help me out a lot, but you can help yourself to anything in the fridge. Why are all your condiments in the vegetable drawer, but your vegetables are in the condiment? Like, what are you doing? Well, if the vegetables were in the drawer, then it'd kind of turn into like a out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, and I would never use them. Kinda makes sense, but it also kinda feels like a sin. I'm telling you, it works for me. Hey, don't put that down. What? Put it away. Oh, don't put it down. Put it away. Don't put it down. Put it away. Don't put it down. Put it away. I thought I was the only one. No, I didn't. This deep under the skin itch happens for a couple of reasons. Most common of which is allergies. And a lot of people say that this usually happens right after they do the dishes. And to that, I say maybe try getting a different soap or doing your dishes with gloves on because the hot water can dry your hands out. Another reason is your nerves are just really fucking weird. Like all the nerves that you have in your like whole leg, okay, can be condensed down into the nerves in your hand. So let's say you get an itch on like your pinky finger. Your brain isn't like, oh, my pinky finger itches. It kind of just like sends the signal to the general deep skin. They say it could also be related to complex motor tics, but unless you have other tics going on, you probably just touched something you're allergic to. Everybody experiences time differently. There's actually 2 different ways that people say they perceive it, and to figure out which one you are, you just have to answer this question, okay? If I say the meeting on Wednesday got pushed forward by 2 days, what day is the meeting? If you said that the meeting is now on Monday, you have a time-moving perspective. But if you said that the meeting is now on Friday, you have an ego-moving perspective. An ego-moving perspective means that you see yourself moving forward through time, like sitting on a chair, rolling forward. The time-moving perspective means that you see yourself as stagnant and time is moving forward through you, like pulling the chair towards you on a rope. It's kind of crazy to think about, but the color brown doesn't exist. That video got over 15 million views 2 years ago, and I don't think I ever explained myself as well as I could have, so we're gonna try again. Obviously, brown exists, right? If we're just talking about using our eyes, looking around, I can see that that's brown. But what if I told you that it's actually just orange in disguise? If you think about how we see color, it's just light traveling at different speeds. For the color orange to hit our eyes, the light has to be traveling at a frequency of between 600 and 630 nanometers. Brown travels at about 610, meaning it's a part of the orange family. This orange box only looks orange because of the context behind it. It was brown the whole time. So wherever on the light spectrum you think you exist, just remember, you're actually just orange. The loudest word ever shouted was quiet! It is impossible to speak while breathing through your nose. Don't try it. Don't do it. What are you doing? I just said you can't do. What are you doing? Getting angry when you hear other people breathing is called misophonia, and it's actually a brain disorder. If you're ever choking and you're alone and you just know that there's gonna be nobody around to help you, you need to get on your hands and knees and then just drop your body to the floor. This sudden push of air is gonna push any food out of your throat. If you're ever trying to defend yourself against an attacker and you have a knife, okay, instead of trying to like poke them places, slash them across the forehead. It's going to bleed so much, effectively blinding them. If somebody ever tries to smother you with a pillow in your sleep, just turn your head ever so slightly until you find the air pocket to breathe. Granted, this person's probably going to continue trying to kill you, but at least it won't be something as stupid as a pillow. This has got to be the most perfect example of just because you can doesn't mean you should. They made little nanobots that help sperm reach the egg. And for infertility issues, okay, I kind of get this, but you have to think about the kind of person you're creating by doing this. It's either going to be the stupidest kid you've ever met or the laziest. Don't you think that the poor mobility of the sperm is an indicator of poor genetic quality? Like, we all had to win a race, and this guy just gets valet for jizz. So I bought these shorts that I really like, but Maddie said when I put them on, it looks like I pissed myself. And I have not worn them since, because they're right. So I got a bucket and a bottle of black dye, and we're gonna fix this. I messed up, the water has to be hot. Dye. Yeah, here we go. Just get in there. Just drown. It also wants like half a cup of salt for some reason. Good luck. Here is the final result. What do you think? Sometimes I wish I was a man, but not because I want to be a dude, okay? Gross. I really just want your guys' 24-hour cycle instead of this 28-day one. Because last week, I was great, okay? On top of the world. But because I'm on day 17 of 28, means my estrogen has gone and my progesterone's gone, woo! So I feel like jello right now. I don't want to work out. I really just want to cry, but it's not even like PMS week, which means it's only gonna get worse from here. Imagine waking up every day though and feeling the fucking same. I don't think guys understand that it's not the same for...
This is a pickle picker. You use it to grab your pickle, take it out of the jar, and of course, eat it. Can you guys say pickle picker 3 times fast?
Pickle picker, pickle picker, pickle picker. This is a fork. Can you say fork? Oh, come on, you can do it. Let's. Everybody wants to know how I did this. They all want to be a part of the secret. So I'm gonna tell you. Honestly, not even that difficult. You just have to grab your nearest keyboard, double click that space bar. I'm kidding. There's a, it's a harness. Really fucking hurts. Like, look what it's doing to my shoulders. That's insane. If you follow my boyfriend Maddie, they kind of leaked the secret before I could even post about it. My knees hurt. Yeah, magic. So when I was in college, I lived in an apartment complex that had one of these like communal laundry rooms where you had to pay like 50 cents to $1 to use the washing machine and dryer, and I didn't want to do that. So I looked up the unit's model number and bought a lockbox key and saved hundreds of dollars doing laundry. I also never bought any of the textbooks. What am I gonna do with it after the class? Read it? Okay, either find a free PDF of it online, use somebody else's book, or if you absolutely have to buy it, don't buy it from the school bookstore. You're just asking to be robbed. Use a website like Slugbooks to compare the best prices. Another thing I did in college was right before an exam, I would send out a mass email to the class being like, hey, I just finished my study guide. Send me yours and I'll send you mine. Never actually made a study guide, but I ended up with everybody's, would send them back to everybody, and we all get good grades. I learned something from my therapist today that I really wish I would have known sooner. So I'm gonna tell you, because I think the whole world would benefit from this knowledge. If a child feels a lack of love from their father, they're going to have low self-esteem and an emotional imbalance and constantly looking for love wherever they can find it. And if a child feels a lack of love from their mother, they're going to have anger, communication, and trust issues. And if a child feels a lack of love from both of the parents, they're gonna have all of those symptoms, plus the added feeling of confusion and feeling unlovable until they get their shit figured out. In the movie Elf, Will Ferrell's character Buddy has to test out some Jack-in-the-Boxes that he's absolutely terrified of because of the jump scare. And this reaction is genuine because the director was sitting off camera with a remote, just having them randomly pop out to scare him. In the movie Home Alone, the actor Daniel Stern had to have a tarantula put on his face, and he wasn't given a whole lot of heads up beforehand. So he was like, but aren't tarantulas poisonous? Yes. But won't that kill me? Not if you don't scare the spider, but I have to be screaming. Isn't that gonna scare the spider? Spiders don't have ears. And he was like, okay, and so we got this iconic scene. In the movie Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man gets hit with a big blast of water. Crazy, like he did a great job acting all wet, right? His stunt double actually got hit with all that water. In the movie Jaws, they decided not to tell the actress who's the first person to get attacked that there was going to be a machine in the water that was going to actually attack her and pull her under. So her screams of just pure terror are as real as they can be. In the movie The Princess Bride, there's a scene where Wesley has to get knocked out, but they weren't able to get it to look as realistic as they wanted it to, so he was like, hit me. Just hit me with this very real metal sword in the head. And they did, and he woke up in the hospital. But at least the scene looks good. Next time you're talking to your crush and the conversation gets kind of boring or even a little bit awkward, just ask them what they would do if money wasn't a part of the equation. The conversation is going to get much deeper than just asking them what their sign is or something. You could also just pretend that there's something stuck in your eye. Okay, it hurts really bad. You need their help. Depending on the height difference, they're going to be looking up at you trying to figure out what's wrong. You're going to be looking down at them or vice versa. All you got to do is smile and they're going to be like, what? And you gotta be like, I really just like you looking up or down at me. If you say it smoother, they'll get butterflies. You could also just ask your crush what their favorite movie is, and no matter what their answer is, just be like, oh, I've never seen it. And if they're like, ooh, we should watch it sometime, they like you. But if they're like, oh yeah, you should watch it sometime, yeah. Here's some of the coolest websites that you need to know about. EmulatorGames.online. This website has a bunch of the old consoles, and let's say you wanted to play a Nintendo DS game, they have all the options right here to play right on the website. Woof.net. This website gives you the opportunity to travel the world in exchange for volunteer work in the agriculture space. Like, let's say I want to go to Portugal, I wouldn't have to pay for housing or food, I would just have to work for it. OnlineSequencer.net. It's this website where you can make insane pieces of music for free. Yeah! Here's some secrets that hotels do not want you to know about. Everything at a hotel is negotiable as long as you're not rude. They're willing to do this because they think you'll leave a good review. Don't use the glass cups in your room. There are so many maid stories of them saying that they just use the same rag from the bathroom to make it look clean. Most maid staffs don't have a whole lot of time to clean each room. They usually just end up fixing the sheets and pillows, but they don't change anything unless it's the end of the week or if there's a visible stain. If you want a deep clean in your room, tip your maid. The best time to book a hotel is ASAP because prices always tend to go up, but if you're trying to book a hotel room at night, it's definitely going to be more expensive than trying to book it during the day because that's when most people are trying to get a room. And if you're booking online, make sure you clear your history after comparing prices for a little bit because websites will raise the prices if they see you're looking at their page for too long. It's so gross, I burp all the time. Yeah, that's a sign that your body's just really low on stomach acid. You should try like eating your food slower or drinking some apple cider vinegar. Oh my god, I love chewing on ice. Just, ugh, I could do it all day long. No, you're probably low on iron, right? Like go eat a steak or some spinach. Oh, my fingernails have like white spots on them. What do you think that means? Oh, that's 100% a zinc deficiency. You need more like meat and dairy and nuts. How much of different foods and drinks would it take for you to consume before it kills you? Well, it would only take about 14 glasses of water before your kidneys were just like, nobody's ever done it before, but about 480 bananas would have enough potassium to just stop your heart. If you eat cherries, you know that sometimes you accidentally eat the pit, but it would only take 3 pits for you to die from cyanide poisoning. It would only take 24 tablespoons of salt from Mother Nature to be like, yeah, this person has had way too much sodium. If you were somehow able to take 14 shots of whiskey within an hour and not puke, don't. Okay, so according to the FBI, if you can solve this mystery, you should consider signing up for their little mystery solving club. So a man and a woman go to lunch together, but because it's hot outside, they order 4 ice waters. The woman just sips on her drink throughout the meal while the guy chugs 3 of them right at the beginning. When they go home, the woman ends up falling ill and then dropping dead before morning. The next day, the doctors run some tests on the man and come to the conclusion that somebody poisoned their drinks. But why is it that the woman died but the man is still alive? Let me know what you think in the comments. Here's some toys from your childhood that got banned for being too dangerous. Aquadots was something I saw on TV all the time, okay? They were these little beads, and if you sprayed them with water, they would stick together. The issue was that these little beads were coated in a chemical compound called GHB, aka the date rape drug. Kids would accidentally ingest these beads and then just pass the fuck out. Rollerblade Barbie, just one of the many Barbies from the Career and Hobbies collection. The little rollerblades they gave Barbie had a spark mechanism, which essentially was just a cigarette lighter that they gave to children. If you rolled Barbie over anything flammable, you had a problem. In 1993, Slip and Slide had to recall over 9 million of their slides due to the fact that they were made for children, but adults were using them. The slides just weren't long enough, and over a dozen people ended up getting spinal cord injuries that ended up in permanent paralysis. Did you know that the #1 place people get abducted is grocery store parking lots?
This is why as soon as you get in your car, you just need to start it and drive off. Don't just sit here scrolling on your phone. You make yourself super vulnerable to anybody that's willing to take the chance to get to you.
Everybody should have pepper spray or one of these keychain weapons, but most people don't. But if you're a woman, I'd put money down that you know about the whole like holding your keys in your hand like you're Wolverine or something, but you should try to remember to keep the keys in your non-dominant hand.
Because your dominant hand is going to be the one that you're able to punch the hardest with, but now at least your non-dominant hand has some extra attack points.
If you're ever just out walking alone and a guy stops you to ask where you're going, do not tell him you're going home. From my own personal experience, they end up just following you. Instead, say you're going to your boyfriend's place, because guys will respect the hypothetical presence of a man more so than you asking him to leave you alone. Here's a psychology trick that I know works because I use it. Okay, you really gotta be careful with this one because the truth can hurt, but if you want to see if somebody secretly dislikes you, like they're nice to your face, but you have a sneaky suspicion they're talking shit about you behind your back, say something to them that can be perceived as superficially polite or subtly an insult. Like, hey, you look nice today. Somebody that's your friend is just going to take the compliment, but somebody that doesn't like you is going to see the negative and get offended. So they call this the 1-minute health check. All you got to do is take a spoon and rub it all over your tongue. And then you put the spoon in a bag and then place it under some light for about a minute. And you're technically healthy if you pick back up the spoon and it's clean, no blotches or odor. But if it does smell kind of sharp, there could be an issue with your stomach. If it has orange blotches or smells like ammonia, there's problems with your kidneys. And if it smells sweet, you might be a diabetic. If there's any white blotches, that could mean a respiratory infection. If there's any yellow blotches, that could mean an issue in your thyroids. And if the blotches are purple, you should get your cholesterol checked. All hail Dr. Spoon. Next time you go to make a sandwich, try putting 2 pieces of bread into the same toaster slot. That way, the outside is all toasted while the inside is still soft and chewy. And instead of just slapping the lunch meat onto the bread, try cutting it into these half circles instead. That way there's less overlap and you actually get some meat on the corners. And when you go to grate cheese, make sure the grater is horizontal. There's way less mess this way. Look at all that. Yo! I don't know if it's the bread or my hands, but this looks so small. Don't forget to give your dog the excess cheese. They'll thank you for it. If you're gonna send somebody a picture of yourself and you want them to think that you're like so attractive, make sure your hair is wet in the picture. Sounds crazy, like it would have the opposite effect, but several studies have shown that we rate people with wet hair as more attractive. We don't even know why. Isn't this sexy? My sense of self-confidence is skyrocketing. I figured I might as well start practicing pretending to be straight in case they decide to ban gays, in case they decide to let the states vote upon whether or not being gay should be banned. My bad. It's a good day to be a lesbian. At least I thought so. Roe v. Wade was overturned this morning by the Supreme Court, who is filled with justices who said during their selection process that no, abortion is a constitutional right. I wouldn't even dream of changing that. They lied to us. Justice Clarence Thomas also announced today that the Supreme Court is going to have to reconsider the decisions on same-sex marriage, same-sex relations, and contraceptives. Does he realize that those decisions could also end up affecting his interracial marriage? I don't think he does. 26 states already have laws put in place that are going to force people to give birth, even in cases of rape, incest, stillbirth, and when the carrier's life is put at risk. If anybody out there is looking to take a vacation, Here are some wonderful states you should go to. Avoid the rest. This is a friendly reminder that preheating your oven is a scam made up by the electric and gas companies. Okay, as soon as you turn this on, pop your food in. What are you waiting for? It's gonna cook while it heats up. Ants can live a really long time. Like, way longer than I thought. Your normal everyday ant can live like 4 to 15 years. And there have been queens on record living up to 28 years. Next time I have to step on an ant, I'm really gonna be like mourning their whole ass life. This is the hognose snake, and when it feels threatened, it'll puff itself up and hiss at you. But if that doesn't work, it'll flip itself over and play dead. And if you take the snake and flip it from its back to its belly, it'll just flip itself back over. Like, no, I'm supposed to be dead. Penguins are able to drink salt water like it's fresh water because they have this gland behind their eyes that actually filters their blood and allows them to sneeze the salt out. Now, I'm not saying that we need to hire a bunch of penguins to save the world or whatever, but it's an option. This is a formal trigger warning. Here are some of the worst prosthetics that actors had to endure. Robin Williams said that for his role in Popeye, he had to go through 90 minutes of makeup a day, but that his forearms were the worst part. He said that they would tie my arms up like a junkie for the fight scenes, and then when I had to ask for a bit of blood, they would release my arms until the circulation came back and then just tie me up again. Ian Coletti has to have his face covered up all day to play the character of Eugene Root, aka Arseface, a character in the show Preachers who was horribly disfigured after a suicide attempt. He said that there's not a whole lot of time to eat, that he has to be in the chair by 2 a.m. and doesn't get to go home until 10 p.m. Said that throughout the day he would be able to drink protein shakes, but that this was the saddest form of method acting that he's ever had to do. Jennifer Lawrence has said that if she was given the offer, she would consider coming back to play Mystique in a 4th X-Men movie, but that she doesn't necessarily want to, saying that inhaling all the fumes that made her achieve this look made her sick. Do you want to get out of going to school or work or some social thing? Here's how to fake being sick. Ideally, you want something that's going to incapacitate you from any major responsibilities without being so serious that somebody wants to take you to the doctor, so make sure that you don't overdo it. You need to make sure that you start complaining about symptoms the day before the thing that you want to get out of. So say that you don't feel well, you have a headache, a stomach ache, try not to eat as much, and go to bed earlier than you normally would. To fake a fever, you need to be sweating, so take a hot shower, put hot water in your face, drink hot liquids like tea, and wrap yourself up in blankets, but remember to shiver because you're supposed to be freezing. To fake a cold, make sure you only breathe through your mouth and put a little bit of toothpaste under your eyes to make them burn and water up. And if you have to fake being sick over the phone, make sure that you hang your head over the bed and speak slow and sluggish to make yourself sound a little bit more stuffed up. And if you get away with it, don't just get better. People become suspicious if you're back to 100% the day after a sick day. Hey, I just wanted to ask you, dude, this room smells like weed. Skunk. Put a few drops of this on your light bulbs. What is it and why the light bulbs? It's vanilla extract. It'll make the whole place smell less skunk-like. Hey, 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 your zipper's like all the way down. Man, this always happens. Just lock it. Are you calling me a... No, your zipper has a lock, okay? Like when it's unlocked, it just comes right up. But if you lock it into place, it's not gonna go anywhere. I have to get up so early tomorrow. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Like, I might as well go to bed now. Oh man, don't go now. Just drink a big glass of water before you go to sleep. So I have to pee in the morning and get out of bed. Horses are much bigger than people, so naturally they just have a lot more blood than we do. So whenever horses get nosebleeds, it ends up looking like a whole crime scene. So one of the only reasons we know how many people died in the Titanic are the shoes that are laying on the ocean floor. Some are pretty cool, others are kind of depressing. And the reason we count the shoes instead of, bones is because when the Titanic hit the floor, all the corpses kind of just scattered and the fish ate the corpses, but the fish couldn't eat the shoes. If you ever decide to go climb Mount Everest, I hope that you remember that the crevices in the ice are V-shaped, which means if you were to ever accidentally fall down one, you more than likely wouldn't die die instantly. Your body heat would melt the ice around you, causing you to slip further and further down until your chest couldn't expand enough to breathe. So make sure you bring a friend just as crazy as you to help get you out. Here's some movie mistakes that you didn't even notice. So in Marvel's Doctor Strange, when he's literally performing brain surgery, nobody's wearing masks. The first Pirates of the Caribbean movie is supposed to be set in about 1720s, 1760s, like that era, okay? So why the fuck is there a cowboy? They aren't supposed to exist for another 150 years. So in Twilight, Edward and Bella have sex. But Edward's a vampire, which means he's not supposed to, like, have a heartbeat. And without a heartbeat, how are you getting an erection to even have sex? And his body temperature is like super low, so sperm production isn't really what it's supposed to be. So how is Bella getting pregnant? We found him. I'm genuinely so impressed with you guys, but also at the same time, kind of terrified. Outside of a Facebook page that he hadn't posted to since 2015 and had one picture on it, this guy had no social media presence, but in 24 hours, you guys were able to find him and send me his name, age, phone number, address, place of business, and his wife and son's number. I'm not going to be posting this guy's information yet because I've been doxxed before and it sucks. But I know that we got the right guy because it looks like him, it sounds like him. He lives only 30 minutes away from the festival. I called his son and he was like, yeah, my dad was at that concert. And my dad called him and was like, is this the man that punched my daughter? And he admitted to it, but then was like, sir, I'm not a violent man. I gave all the info to the cops. I'm just waiting to hear back so I can press charges, but I just wanted to say thank you for all your help and support, and I'll keep you guys updated if there's any updates. I know that this is a long shot, but I'm hoping that the internet can do what the internet does best and help me figure out the identity of this man who assaulted me last night. This happened in the VIP section of the Bottle Rock Festival in Napa, California. He's wearing a Velvet Antlers technology hat and a camo jacket, so I can only assume that he's a hunter. I've already filed a police report and Bottle Rock security has his photo and they're going to try and help me find him these next 2 days, but the internet is really good at detective shit, so I'm just at the Metallica concert, one of my favorite bands, enjoying life, when a mosh pit had started behind me. I didn't realize that this was going on, okay? So when somebody accidentally bumped into me, it made me accidentally bump into this man who was standing in front of me. This man's response was to push me to the ground where I ended up hitting my head. When I stand back up and I'm kind of just like, what the fuck? This man grabs me by my shirt and repeatedly punched me in the face. You can see my eyes starting to swell up in this. It took about 4 punches for the people around us to separate him from me, and the first thing that I said was, man, you punch like a bitch, and then he tried to punch me again. People are still separating him from me, but I was like, hey man, you know you just punched a girl, right? I felt like I needed to tell him that because I'm 6'2", and I looked like this. Axl Rose motherfucker. I don't know. I wanted to give him a chance to realize what he had just did. But he just said, I don't give a fuck, and tried to punch me again. I ended up getting a video of me and him together to try and get a good picture of his face and like see if he would say his name, but he didn't, and he just tried to like take my phone away from me. And by the time I went to go get security and come back with them, he had either run away or taken off his stupid camo jacket and hat, so I didn't know who to look for in the crowd. There's really no visible bruising in my jaw, but it's definitely swollen and I can feel it. The swelling in my eye has gone down, but the most pain that I'm in is really just my neck. Like, my neck is fucking killing me. I also just want to clarify, because I know some people out there are going to try and bring this up. I know how mosh pits work. I love moshing, but neither one of us were in the pit, and even if we were, the response to somebody bumping into you is never to punch them in the fucking face. So yeah, if anybody knows this guy that looks like every other fucking guy, let me know. Stephen Hawking wanted to test if traveling back in time was possible, so he threw a time traveler's party, but didn't invite anybody until after the party was over. And the idea was that if time travel existed, a traveler would see the invitation and show up. But nobody did, and he won an award for it. There was a 1 in a 5.2 to the 62nd power chance that if you were to slap a table, all of the molecules in your hand would miss all of the molecules of the table, allowing it to pass straight through. Granted, you would probably have to slap this table for a very, very long time, so the chances are low, but never zero. Oh! As you get closer to a black hole, time hour. So everything farther away would experience time faster and faster as you got closer and closer. 1 second for you could mean billions of years for everything else on the outside. And so if you were to fall into a black hole and look out of it, you would actually see the universe die with you. Humans are so stupid. We can't agree on anything. Seriously, I challenge you to try and find one thing that everybody can agree on. Because I guarantee whatever you're thinking, somebody wants to argue with you. I bet you want to argue with me on that too. We can't even agree what electrical outlet to use. Every country has to have their own. But why would I think we could do that when we can't get on the same page about how to write what day it is? It gets worse. We can't even agree on what year it is.
Whole car. Look at this. Look at all this.
Because I need it
Look
for my
at the
baby.
shelves. You don't think I need it for my baby too?
You think I know you come and you get this?
I just want to come on here and remind y'all that it is perfectly legal to take stuff out of somebody else's shopping cart before they've paid for it. When there's a shortage of something, like toilet paper, hand sanitizer, in this case baby formula, there's going to be a lot of assholes trying to bulk buy everything so they can resell it because they're fucking assholes. If you ever see somebody doing this, literally take the shit out of the shopping cart and buy it for yourself. Hell, put it back on the shelf, tell them to fuck off. Life hack. If you ever want to go to a concert or a sporting event, make sure that you buy the cheapest ticket possible and then go. Once you're inside, go on Ticketmaster or StubHub and see what better seats haven't sold yet and just go sit there. If you have an annoying relative that's asking you or you and your partner when you're gonna have kids, just tell them you're pregnant, and then a few months later, tell them you had a miscarriage. They're gonna be so uncomfortable ever bringing it up again that you'll have your peace. Next time you try to buy something on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or Craigslist, message the seller with like 7 different accounts just completely lowballing their offer, and be a dick about it. And then message them with your actual account giving a low but reasonable offer. They're gonna be so relieved that they're finally talking to a decent person that you'll get that good deal. Flamingos can drink boiling water. I mean, okay, technically everybody can drink boiling water at least once, but flamingos can do it consistently. Sometimes in hot weather, nectar can ferment, and when bees consume that, they effectively get drunk, and drunk bees are not allowed back in the hive. Female dolphins produce this special secretion that causes intense orgasms that works on humans, except for the fact that it also stops our heart and kills us. I wonder who figured that out. For those of you out here struggling, here's some ways to get a guy to actually like you back. Make eye contact with him a little longer than you normally would. Don't stare the man down, okay? But if you notice that when you look at him, it's only for like a second, try to look at him for like 3 to 5 seconds. And smile. He'll notice. Compliment him. Men are so compliment deprived that when they finally get one, they eat that shit up, okay? Just don't go overboard. Like 1 or 2 genuine compliments a week is gonna keep him on his toes and make him feel good. Touch him, but casually. Maybe you touch his arm in conversation, or maybe you're sitting next to each other and your legs bump, but you don't move it right away, or maybe there's something over here you gotta go show him, so you grab him by the hand and drag him along. Ask him for favors. Nothing crazy, just small stuff. This is a little trick that Benjamin Franklin used to get people to care about him more, but just make sure that if he ever asks you for a favor, you follow through too. Make sure that you have a life outside of him. Show him that you're an independent individual that doesn't need to be around him. You want to be around him. And if he doesn't reciprocate that want, you're ready to walk away, because nothing is more attractive than somebody that knows their worth. Okay, I understand that it's a kid's movie and I'm probably overanalyzing it, but if it's not supposed to have that many details, why does it have that many details? Why do the cars have doors and door handles? Who is getting in and out of them? Are they just pockets? Why does the Cars universe need a school bus? Is there school? Do kids get inside of her? And like, where do baby cars come from? And do they grow up or stay the same? Because there's definitely older cars, but not all new cars are kids. And they're implying that this is mom and this is dad, but like, how? And what's the difference between a boy car and a girl car? And don't you dare say nothing, because there are very blatant gender differences. This car has a mustache and this one has a tramp stamp. I'm not judging, I'm just saying. Like at first I thought it was the headlights. I was like, okay, maybe girls can flash theirs and boys have stickers, but that's just the race cars, so it doesn't make sense. But I need it to make sense. And I swear to God, this isn't even all my questions, so like for a part 3. Next time you're feeling bad about yourself, I want you to come back and watch this video, because nothing is gonna make you feel better like people trying to sell mirrors. You're selling the mirror, you know, you gotta take a picture of it, but you don't necessarily want to be in it, so got a lot of these. People just trying their very best. Like genuinely, this is impressive. This is somehow even more impressive. But then some people kind of get lazy. Like, you can tell they're trying, but it just doesn't work. Ma'am, get your child out of here! Hiding his personality, but showing off that ass. This one's so intimate, like, oh my god. Sir, where's your shirt? This one gives more shitty Tinder pic than it does a mirror ad. I don't think I've ever thought to take a picture like this. Oh, just the feet. I like that you can tell the dude behind this is smiling. But honestly, my personal favorite is people dressing up as ghosts. It's like, oh, so spooky. A for effort. This one is genius. The world's hardest riddle is really interesting because when Harvard students were asked to answer it, 98% of them got it wrong. But when kindergartners were asked to answer it, 83% of them got it right. So if you can't solve this, you're dumber than a kindergartner, but right up there with Harvard students. I turn polar bears white, and I will make you cry. I make guys have to pee, and girls comb their hair. I make celebrities look stupid, and normal people look like celebrities. I turn pancakes brown, and make your champagne bubble. If you squeeze me, I'll pop. But if you look at me, you'll pop. Can you guess the riddle? Here's how to tell if you're falling in love with somebody, or if you just have a crush on them. A crush will feel insecure, but love literally stems from feelings of trust. A crush will feel new and might even be a little reckless, but love will feel familiar and more mature because love thrives off of deep connections while a crush is just kind of formed from the basics. A crush usually fades the more you get to know somebody, but love will grow every single day you get to spend with this person. Here are some signs that you're actually more attractive than you think you are. When we find somebody hot, we usually look at them and are like, there is nothing wrong with this person, they're perfect. So, if you ever like casually bring up your insecurities around people and they seem shocked about it, it's because they are. You don't really get that many compliments, which seems backwards, right? Like the most attractive people should be getting the most amount of compliments, but a lot of people don't even bother complimenting attractive people because they assume that they already know how good they look. You know when you're walking around and you accidentally make eye contact with a person? Okay, well, if you notice these people are staring at you or having to do like double takes, they're having a really hard time averting their gaze from this person that they find so beautiful. And if somebody's like smiling in your direction, flirting, okay? And if they're raising their eyebrows up, they're literally surprised about how gorgeous you are. People seem to have really strong opinions about you, both positive and negative, even if they've never met you. Can you guess why? Here's something to look out for in somebody else's body language if you think that they might have a crush on you. This is definitely going to be exposing a lot of people out there, and I'm sorry, but like, the people gotta know. If you're with somebody, maybe on a date, maybe not, but at the very least, like, alone with the person, and you notice that they kind of just, like, they flare their nostrils a little bit. They probably don't even realize that they're doing it, but they're trying to smell your pheromones. They can't even help it because, you know, when you're attracted to somebody, even on a subconscious level, you're going to try and figure out if you're compatible on that level. All right, guys, today I'm going to teach you how to survive a nuclear bomb. Just in case. Boom, the bomb went off, you have to act fast, okay? First things first, don't look at the flash, it'll blind you, and try not to look at other people either because the flash can act like an x-ray and you'll be definitely seeing some skeletons. If you can't find shelter, your best bet is going to be to lay down on the ground, face down, covering your head and ears. I would probably still do this even if I had shelter. And like I said, there's going to be x-rays, but also gamma rays and thermal rays, which are not going to feel good. They're going to be actively burning you. It doesn't matter, you have to get up, fight through the pain, and just find fucking shelter. Don't get into a car that's like the worst idea you could have. A bomb shelter is ideal, but any brick or concrete building is going to be helpful. Even if you could just find a cave, get inside of it. Because the poisonous rain is coming, and it will kill everything in its path. You should also probably take off your clothes because they are just covered in radiation. And if you somehow made it this far, you're doing better than most, so like for a part 2. Here's some groundbreaking science things that happened that you probably didn't hear about because the media's been focused on, other things. Okay, so I think we all know what ALS is. It's the disease that Stephen Hawking had, and the whole reason for the ice bucket challenge. Well, there's a 34-year-old paralyzed man with ALS. He can't speak or even move his eyes. Scientists gave him a brain implant that allowed him to answer yes or no questions, but they quickly moved on from that, and now he's able to spell out words. His first words were, "I want a beer." And then he asked for them to play his favorite band, he asked for some curry, and then he said he loved his son. This is huge, not just for ALS patients, but any patients that have trouble communicating traditionally. And I feel like this is just inching us closer to being able to upload our consciousness to the internet. This is a test of how fast you can read compared to everybody else. There's a series of 5 levels, so make sure you let us know at which point you're not able to understand what the text is saying anymore. Good luck. next time you're feeling bad about yourself, I want you to come back and watch this video because nothing is gonna make you feel better like the x-rays of people who made some really embarrassing decisions. Like this guy who survived a 5-inch knife to the skull after breaking into somebody else's house. Or the boyfriend that put the ring he was gonna use to propose in his girlfriend's milkshake. Can you tell what this person swallowed? A toothbrush. On a dare. And now for the stuff up the butt lightning round, you can guess whether the object got stuck coming down or going up. Starting off with an easy one, live ammunition. I want to ask why a cell phone, but I think I already know. I may never eat a candy cane again. I'd put money down and say that they're locked out of their house right now. This is not what Pixar meant by to infinity and beyond. Take your finger and press right here. This spot on your forehead is known as your third eye, and really spiritual people believe that it's the representation for our mystical insight and intuition, but scientifically, just pressing here for like 60 seconds can have some crazy benefits for your body. I press on it to help get rid of a headache or even relieve sinuses. And it stimulates your pituitary gland, which is like the master of all your hormones, which can help your skin, complexion, and just your general well-being. Third eye meditation has also been known to ease anxiety, clear your thoughts, and help with insomnia. And as if this chakra pressure point couldn't do enough already, it also helps with eye strain, which I know you have because you're on TikTok all day. So, heartburn sucks. Like, why can't I just eat my spicy food in peace? Just try drinking this. Oh, what is this? Well, we don't have any Tums, so I just mixed water with baking soda. You feeling better? Yeah, actually. Thanks. Ah! Shit! Oh my god! I cut myself! Do you have any Neosporin or Band-Aid or something? I think we're all out, but I do have sugar. What? You know, since we don't have any bandages, honey might actually work better for this. How is that supposed to help me? Bacteria needs moisture to grow, and putting sugar on the open wound will draw any of the water out, starving the bacteria before it can infect you. You're insane, you know that? You're still awake? You said you were going to bed hours ago. Yeah, I can't sleep. You should try eating this. Peanut butter? It contains tryptophan, which is known to help with sleep issues. They call it sand because it's in between the sea and the land. The division symbol is just a fraction, but with dots replacing the numbers. When they say that this little piggy went to the market, that doesn't mean he went to the store. Not so fun facts to completely ruin your day. Doritos announced that each bag is now gonna have 5 fewer less chips, and they're blaming it on inflation. If you're ever drowning in the ocean, a dolphin is much more likely to rape you than help you or just ignore you. If you ever have a really persistent case of the hiccups, the doctor recommended course of treatment is a rectal massage. The United States has been a country for 244 years, but has been at war for 225 of those years. The zone of death. The only place in the United States where murder is legal because of this crazy loophole in our justice system. It's in Yellowstone National Park, which is mostly in Wyoming, but does cross the border into Montana and Idaho. And that little 50-mile strip is exactly where you don't want to be, unless you plan on killing or being killed. For a criminal proceeding to take place, the jury has to live in both the state and the district where the crime takes place. So for a trial to even take place against a crime that happened in this strip of land, the jury has to live in that strip of land. And that's the thing. Nobody lives in. Here are 3 things that you should probably look out for in somebody else's body language. Lip locking is something that we all do when we're hearing or seeing something that we don't like. Hey, I think it's finally time that you met my parents. That's a great idea. Shoulder shrugging shows where there's an uncertainty in a person's mind. You know, like the whole, I'd like to thank my family and friends and girlfriend. Eye blocking is a telltale sign that somebody is trying to keep a secret or hide an emotion, whether it's them blinking too slowly, trying to have a conversation with their eyes closed, or wearing a sunglasses and a hat to, you know, hide the truth. If you ever get a parking ticket, like I did, right here, make sure you pay it online. That way you get to keep the ticket. So if you ever need to park somewhere and you don't feel like paying the meter, you can just slip this underneath your windshield and cops will see it and they won't bother giving you another one. If you ever want to read a book without buying the book, just type the name of the book followed by this. And if you ever want to watch a movie for free, just type this followed by the name of the movie. If you're ever getting pulled over by a cop and you're afraid that you're going to get a ticket, literally as soon as you see the blue lights behind you, call 911 and say that you saw a drunk driver in your location. By the time that cop steps up to your window, they're gonna get that alert, tell you that it's your lucky day, and let you go. Psychology tricks that work on kids that I know work because I have like a dozen younger siblings. If you have a kid that's in that why phase, just constantly asking tons of questions, instead of answering every single one of them, which can get exhausting, or just saying I don't know, which can be discouraging, try asking them what they think. They usually end up answering their own question, and then you can provide some feedback and then immediately move the fuck on. Giving a kid the illusion of choice, they become too preoccupied with the decision to even remember that they didn't want to do something. Saying, do you want to do your homework in blue or black pen is better than just saying, do you want to do your homework? Asking a kid, why did you push Jimmy is better than asking, did you push Jimmy? If you have a toddler that's just having an absolute meltdown, okay, there's two tricks. You can ask them a question to try and redirect their attention, like, hey, what color are your shoes? Or you can remind them that they're mad and they shouldn't laugh. You're mad. Don't smile. Say that enough times in a serious voice and they're gonna give in. The batteries in your remote just died and you don't have any more to replace them. One way to give these things just a little bit more juice is to take them out and then rub them together. This is going to clean off the connectivity points and give the chemicals inside a little bit more time to redistribute and you more time to procrastinate buying new batteries. If you just did a load of laundry and you have clothes that are still really staticky but you're all out of dryer sheets, what you can do is take 2 pieces of tinfoil, make them into balls, throw them in there, they're gonna be static free every single time. You guys know that your ceiling fan spins in 2 different directions? In the winter, you want it to spin clockwise because that's gonna pull all the hot air from the ceiling down. And then in the summer, you wanna change it to where it's spinning counterclockwise. That way, all the cold air that's settled on the floor gets mixed around the room. Here are some really cool websites that you're gonna wanna know about. If you go to litsolutions.org, you'll be able to search up one of the textbooks that you're using in class, find a problem in any chapter that you're working on, and it'll pull up a step-by-step guide on how to find the solution. If you go to datenightmovies.com, you and your hypothetical date will better be able to compromise on movie choices. So let's say I really want to watch Harry Potter, but they want to watch Godzilla. This website will show you movies kind of in between the two that they think we'll both like. And you really don't even need a date to use this website, just, you know, passion for movies. If you go to capitaltrades.com, you'll be able to see which stocks United States politicians are buying and selling, which is some pretty nice information to have considering these are the people that can directly affect the prices of those stocks. Holy shit, woman, what are you buying? If someone ever starts a stupid argument with you or is insulting you, try complimenting them. It's much harder than it sounds, but it works because it's gonna throw them off enough to either start being civil or stop. And if that doesn't work, try just staring at their forehead instead of making eye contact. It's gonna frustrate them and make them uncomfortable without even realizing why. And if all else fails, wake up. Or just tell them that they have something stuck in their teeth because that usually knocks them down a peg. There's something stuck in my eye. Well, stop rubbing it. But it hurts and I'm just trying to get it out. Instead, try just pulling down on your eyelashes. It'll force it to come out. Huh. That worked. Dang it. What's wrong with you? Every picture I take, I have a double chin. That's because you're not putting your tongue in the right spot. Huh? If you press your tongue to the roof of your mouth, it'll make your jaw more defined. Oh, I have to pee so bad, but this person won't get out of the bathroom. Just scratch the back of your calf. What? The back of your calf. Scratch it. Why is this helping? We really survived a whole pandemic just for the universe to dangle a potential world war in our face. Think fast. Oh man, you gotta get better at dodging that ball if you even want to consider dodging a draft. Alright, here's the game plan. You could run away to Canada. I don't think they want you. You could pretend to have bad eyesight. It's kind of messed up. Or bone spurs. I don't know what that is, but I do know that's how Trump got out of Vietnam. but I don't think you have enough money to make that lie work. You could do a classic, break your legs. It's a temporary fix unless you just keep breaking your legs, which is suspicious. Okay, hear me out. Cut off your toes. It's extreme, I'm sorry. You could go to college. They can't draft you if you're in school. It's a temporary fix though. You could get married and have a bunch of kids. It's kind of extreme and it's not even a guarantee. I'd say cut off your dick and become a woman, but that seems insensitive. And I have a feeling that the next draft is gonna include women because, you know, equality. So, be gay. The military can't stand gay people, just be gay. Advice that could save your life one day, except the scenarios become increasingly more likely to actually happen. You might have heard that if you ever encounter a shark in the ocean, that you should punch it in the nose to make it go away and stop it from attacking you. But how hard can you realistically punch something underwater? It is way more effective to pull at the shark's gills and poke it in the eyes to let it know, like, hey, I'm not prey and I'm gonna fight you back. If you ever see a tornado and it looks like it's not moving, that means that it's coming towards you or going away from you. But either way, you should go and find shelter instead of standing outside trying to predict the direction of the windy death spiral. If you're ever in a situation where you have to brace for impact, going completely limp will increase your chances of survival. This is because your body is able to more easily contort without breaking bones. This is also why drunk drivers are more likely to survive the accidents they cause, because the alcohol relaxes the muscles in their body versus somebody that tenses up. Here are some of the most banned dog breeds in the whole world. I don't personally agree with this list because I think it's all about how you raise and train a dog, but facts are facts. Coming in at number 3, we have the Doggo Argentino, a very large, very intelligent, all-white, muscular breed that was developed for big game hunting in Argentina. They're banned in all of these places, and it makes me so sad because just look at their little face. Number 2, we have the Japanese Tosa. They were developed by mixing a bunch of very large breeds together about 150 years ago, and people were like, we want the sumo wrestler of dogs. They're also known to make zero noise when attacking in dog fights. And they're banned in all of these places too. And unfortunately, the number 1 spot isn't all that shocking. It goes to the American Pit Bull Terrier. In the right home, these can be very loving dogs, but in the wrong home without proper socialization, they can become very dangerous and fearful. Like, I personally would love to own a pit bull myself if it wasn't so hard to find a place to rent that allows them. Really weird human body facts that I can guarantee you didn't know. Your jaw is strong enough to shatter your teeth, but you won't. It's possible to taste flavors through your anus. Some people can get a really good pop in their lower back by just clenching their ass cheeks hard enough. And just like that, millions of people are squeezing their butt. Let me know if you can do it. You know, growing up, I kind of thought that quicksand was gonna be a way more pressing issue in my life. Which is why, even though I've never encountered it myself, I do know how to escape it. First things first, don't panic, you gotta remain calm, take deep breaths, and remember that you're not gonna drown in quicksand. Because the sand is more dense than your body, you're only really gonna go about waist deep. But still, to give yourself more time, you should make yourself lighter by throwing off any jacket or backpack you have. Also, make sure you keep your arms up and out of the sand. Then you're going to want to slowly wiggle your legs. This is going to create a pocket for the water to trickle in and loosen the sand around you. Then you're going to want to lay down on your back, which is going to help bring your legs to the surface. And then you're going to want to start doing the backstroke as if you're swimming in a pool. And if you keep moving slowly but deliberately, you should be able to escape just fine. And if anybody ever finds quicksand, can you let me know, because I kind of want to try this one out myself. I'm going to show you guys how to win the jackpot on some arcade games almost every single time. Okay, for something like Whack-A-Win, you don't want to come in here and just hit it as hard as you can because that's just not going to work. Okay, you want to take this hammer, make it a 90-degree angle with the button, and then just drop it. Let's go! And to win something like Cyclone, it's all about timing. It's not as hard as you think, but one thing that does help is keeping your hand over the button and then just like timing it for a couple circles around until you... Right there. But I got it. I got the Cyclone. And then to win something like Monster Drop, what you want to do is find the jackpot. You see that little yellow button right there? You want to hit this button right when it passes that screw. It's going to allow the ball just to sink right into it. And then to win the jackpot on the 2-minute drill, you just want to shoot for the middle one. Don't worry about the blue or the red, and then make sure you hit all the receivers. And to win a prize for something like the claw, literally just get inside. It's the easiest way to do it. Y'all, I'm telling you, this stuff works. There's about a 1 in 75,000 chance that the next time you go to crack your neck, you could cause a small tear in your artery, which could lead to a blood clot, which could lead to a stroke that kills you. And even with this knowledge, I have a feeling that most of you aren't gonna stop. 30% of people that are reported missing and then later found dead were killed by the person that reported them missing. If you lived in ancient Rome and were found guilty of killing your father, you were sentenced to what's called pena quelli, which translates to penalty of the sack, where they would sew you into a leather bag with a live dog, snake, monkey, and chicken, and then just throw you into the ocean. Here are 5 things that every guy needs to know about girls. Women are people. Not princesses, not goddesses, not quiet, shy outcasts with all these secret, mysterious wants, okay? Being overly precious about women is just as weird and sexist as thinking they're inferior. Period pain can range from I'm feeling a little worse than usual to I am completely incapacitated right now. When a girl is telling you about a problem she's having, she is not coming to you for a solution. And even if you think that you have the perfect solution for their problem, maybe try asking if they want help before giving unsolicited advice. Men, we all know that you're very visual creatures, but women like it when you play with their imagination. So flirting, foreplay, and the build-up to sex is usually better than the sex itself. Trying to skip the imagination part is like trying to pop an empty balloon. It's lower than you think. Trigger warning, here is what actually happens after you die. First things first, all the muscles in your body are going to relax, like really relax, for the first time in probably a long time. Which means that 10 to 25 pounds of crap you've been holding on to is going to spill out, and whoever finds you is going to be very aware of the fact that you just shit and pissed yourself. But who cares? You're dead. Then all the air in your body is going to escape. Morticians have even said that they hear a lot of moaning while being the only alive person in the room. And because your blood is no longer circulating, it's just going to pool in a specific spot, which is why most dead bodies have a dark purplish color. And if you're a man, you might just get one last boner. After about 2 to 6 hours, your body's going to become very cold and stiff, and because of dehydration, your skin's going to shrivel up, making it look like your hair and nails have grown. And then all the microorganisms that have been living in your gut are going to eat you dead. And if your body's left above ground, it would take about a month to really decompose, but if you're buried underground, the process takes 8 to 12 years. Happy dying. How to take the best shit of your goddamn life. First and foremost, make sure you get at least 30 grams of fiber every single day. And you don't have to drink like prune juice or anything like that. You can do beans, avocado, or popcorn. Doing this will take you from a 3 to a 4. 4 is good. First thing in the morning, drink a hot liquid. Coffee, tea, or even just water. It's going to trigger your gastrocolic reflex, contracting your colon, and just gets everything started. And finally, don't sit to shit. Squat instead. Sitting bends your colon in a weird way, making you work harder, while squatting opens all that up. And by far the easiest way to do this is by getting a squatty potty. Not sponsored, just a big fan. In the new Disney movie Encanto, in the background of Bruno's place, you can very clearly see a boot with a plant in it. Right there. Which is a nice little callback to the plant in WALL-E. And in the movie Moana, one of the first monsters they show looks exactly like Marshmallow from Frozen. And in The Incredibles 2, which came out in 2018, we get to see a lot of Jack Jack's powers. Some of which include telekinesis, laser vision, and being able to just pop in and out of different dimensions. Which makes this scene from Monsters, Inc., which was made in 2001, just a little bit more interesting.
I tried to run from it, but it picked me up with its mind powers and shook me like a dog.
Let's say you have a crush on somebody. You're flirting a little bit, maybe even dating, but you're not quite sure if they're all that into you. Buckle up because they're about to be. You're on FaceTime with them. Congratulations, I'm assuming you're at home, you're in your normal clothes, okay? In the middle of the conversation, be like, it's getting late, I gotta put on my pajamas. Now, you walk out of frame. They don't get a show, and when you're changing, you just happen to throw your shirt across the frame. You throw your pants, you throw your hoodie, you throw your whatever, okay? You're going to be able to see their reaction on screen. They're not going to say anything because you didn't do anything, but they're going to be thinking some things. Pretend that there's something in your eye, okay? It hurts really bad. You can't get it out. You need their help. Depending on the height difference, they're going to be looking up at you, trying to figure out what's causing you pain. You're going to be looking down at them, or vice versa. And all you have to do is smile. And they're going to be like, what? And you have to be like, I just really like you looking up or down at me. I would get butterflies. This one really only works if you're a girl going for a guy, or girl for girl, or guy for guy. It doesn't really work guy for girl. Okay, you're gonna be in a conversation with them, standing across from them. You're gonna have something in your hand. Doesn't matter what it is, phone, wallet, chapstick, I don't care. You're going to accidentally drop it. When you go down, you're going to grab their thigh for balance. And before you come back up, you're going to look back up at them and be like, ah, my bad, and get back up and go back to the conversation as if nothing happened. They're going to explode! Here are some scientifically proven signs that you might be a genius. You prefer to spend time alone, you often talk to yourself, and you question everything. Because it's really the only time you get to be alone, and the fact that you have a hard time falling asleep, you tend to be a night owl, but you're able to adapt really easily to change, and you're able to admit the fact that there's still a whole lot of stuff that you don't know. You understand that everybody has a different style of humor, and you're able to adapt to that. You can also hyper focus on one thing for hours. And last but definitely not least, you don't have to go into the comment section and brag about how you have all these traits. Here are some weird things that happen when you fall in love with somebody. Your voice is gonna change. If you're a guy, it's gonna get higher. And if you're a girl, it's gonna get lower. And this happens because on some subconscious level, you just wanna be more like your partner. You're gonna become completely obsessed because your brain just gets addicted. Like hardcore drugs addicted, but to a person. You're gonna act like drunken fools around each other, and this is because of oxytocin. The love hormone has a similar effect on our bodies as if we just took a couple shots of alcohol. You're gonna like food more, and it's really weird, but there's been several studies that prove this, that when you're in love, something with neurons and shit, food just tastes better. And because of all the hormones and brain chemistry shit, being in love can actually raise your pain tolerance. But on the flip side, you can literally die from a broken heart. This is gonna be fun. Here's some powerful websites that you're gonna want to know about. IsThereAnyDeal.com. You can type in the name of any game that you want, and it's gonna show you the website that has it for the cheapest price. Look at that right there, 40% off. HouseCreep.com. You can find and read about all the crime and creepy things that have happened not only in your neighborhood, but around the entire country. HDToday.tv. You can watch any TV show or movie you want completely for free. Like, I don't know how long this website's gonna stay up for, but they even have the newest Spider-Man. Not in the best quality, but it's still there if you wanted to watch it. I just found out that some people have the ability to see more colors than the rest of us. We're gonna figure out if you're one of those people right now. Take a second to pause this and count how many colors that you see. Okay, so if you counted 20 colors, this means that you're part of the 25% of the population that only has 2 color receptors. Surprise! You're colorblind. If you counted between 21 and 32 colors, this means that you're part of the 55% of the population that has 3 color receptors. Congratulations, you're normal. But if you were worthy enough to count between 33 and 39 colors, you're what's called a tetratromad, which means you have 4 different color receptors. You can see more colors than everybody else around you. You're more sensitive to the color yellow, and the whole white, gold, blue, black dress thing probably didn't trick you like it did the rest of the world. Really weird human body facts that I can guarantee you didn't know. If you're a person with a vagina, you should probably try and do some Kegels every now and then, because if the muscles and ligaments that you have down there aren't strong enough, it's been known for the uterus to just fall out. Men can lactate and produce milk just like women can. Most guys won't admit it, but it's a lot more common than you think, and it's usually triggered by starvation. If you decide to hold in a fart, that gas doesn't just go away. It's absorbed by your intestines, which goes into your bloodstream, which eventually reaches your lungs until you breathe out the fart. Literal shit breath. Here's the way that doctors try and predict your height, okay? All you have to do is take your mom's height and add it to your dad's height. Take that number and divide it by 2. And if you're a guy, add 2.5 inches. And if you're a girl, subtract 2.5 inches. Let me know how accurate that is in the comments. You know, if you're fully grown. If you're still in puberty, just know this has about 90% accuracy. Like, I'm a girl and I ended up being taller than both my parents. Good luck. Things your parents told you that just weren't true. Like, straight up fucking lies. Coffee doesn't stunt your growth. You're just short and your parents didn't want a child bouncing off the walls from the caffeine. Cracking your knuckles isn't gonna give you arthritis. It's perfectly fine and it's just releasing air from your joints. If you accidentally swallow some gum, it's not gonna stay in you for 7 years. It's probably gonna be out of your system in just a couple days. Sitting too close to the TV isn't gonna ruin your eyesight. There's been so many studies that disprove this myth. Chocolate milk doesn't come from brown cows. I've met too many people that believe this and it's starting to worry me. Did you know that your handwriting can tell you a lot about the kind of person you are? Like, seriously, there was a study done on over 5,000 people trying to find correlations between their handwriting and their personalities, and it's scary accurate. If you write in large letters, you love attention and you want to appear confident and strong to everyone around you, but under the surface, not so much. If you write in small letters, this means that you have a very strong focus and concentration, but socially, you're kind of shy and withdrawn. If you write fast, you're impatient and hate people who waste your time, and you're not really good with changes to your schedule. If you tend to write slower, this could mean that your motor skills aren't quite up to par with everybody else's, but you're a very organized and self-reliant person. If you leave these wide spaces in between all your letters, you can't really handle pressure or authority all that well, and you get overwhelmed really easily. If you don't leave a whole lot of space in between your letters, you make friends pretty easily, but this is only because you cannot stand being alone. Mandela effects that are gonna really freak you out. Anytime anybody wants to dress up as Tom Cruise in Risky Business, they do the white socks, the no pants, the pink shirt, and the sunglasses. But Tom Cruise isn't wearing sunglasses in that scene. If you imagine the Star Wars character C-3PO, I'm sure you picture an all-gold robot. But since the beginning of the franchise, C-3PO has had a silver leg. And for some reason, nobody seems to remember it. Ask anybody you know to describe what the robber emoji looks like. Most people are going to say, well, he's wearing a striped shirt, a black hat, and wearing a mask. And I'm sure you pictured this, but this emoji does not and has never existed. Insane history facts that school just refused to teach you. During times of war, humans have been known to take their weapons and stick them in shit. That way, if they stab anybody with it, it inflicts that extra poison damage. The famous poet Edgar Allan Poe was 27 years old when he dove deep into alcoholism, lost his job, and decided that the next course of action for his life would be to marry Virginia Eliza Clem, his 13-year-old cousin. She died about 10 years later from tuberculosis. Toulouse-Lautrec is a very famous painter from the late 1800s who apparently had a giant penis. But because he was only about 5 feet tall, the prostitutes that he hung around called him Teapot because he's short and stout. Here's some gross habits that are actually good for you. There are 2 types of people in this world, okay? People who pee in the shower and fucking liars. Not only will peeing in the shower save you on your water bill, but the acid in your urine can prevent fungal infections in your toes. When you bite your nails, you're actually consuming some of the bacteria underneath them, which is gross, but it can help build a stronger immune system. Studies have shown that kids who suck on their thumbs or bite their nails are less likely to suffer from allergies. Burping in front of people is really impolite, but when you gotta do it, you gotta do it. Holding in all that air can cause bloating and heartburn. You shouldn't actually shower every single day. When you do so, it strips away the essential oils and bacteria from your skin and hair and can make you age faster. So if you want to look younger, try showering 2 to 3 times a week. Picking your nose and eating it can help build a stronger immune system and prevent cavities, which is really gross, but 3 movie mistakes that ended up making the final cut. In How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Jim Carrey was supposed to walk over the table, pull the tablecloth, and have everything go flying. But somehow, that didn't happen, so he improvised, ran over, and pushed everything off, and it was just too good not to put in the movie. In Lord of the Rings, when Gandalf enters Bilbo's hobbit hole, he accidentally hits his head on everything. The chandelier, the low ceiling beam, and Peter Jackson thought it was just so funny, so he kept it in. In Thor Dark Worlds, Thor very casually and very politely hangs up his hammer on the coat rack, which wasn't in the script, and it sparked this whole debate online about whether the coat rack was worthy. Here's some insane laws that only exist in North Korea. If you're born in North Korea, you're not allowed to leave North Korea. You're forced to live there for the rest of your life. Not only that, but it's illegal to make international phone calls. They've literally killed people for just making a call outside of the country. In 2013, they made it illegal for you to wear your hair however you want. There's only 28 legal hairstyles. 18 are for girls and 10 are for guys. But like Kim Jong-un's haircut isn't even on the chart. Unless you're a state official, you're not allowed to own a car. If you have and share any opinions that are differing from what the government tells you is okay, they'll send you to what's called an education camp, where they literally torture people until they comply to think how they think. This is a map of the weirdest town names in the United States, and it worries me. Whoever approved of Chicken, Alaska? Throw them in jail. They don't deserve rights anymore. Just imagine being from Ding Dong, Texas, or Worms, Nebraska, or somebody being like, oh, hey, where you from? And you just have to be like, okay, Oklahoma. Boring Oregon and Jackpot, Nevada kind of makes sense, but everything else here, absolutely not. They named it Little Canada. Then we have Why Not and Accident, the only two places I feel like I would want to visit, and then Smartata. That was on purpose, right? So there used to just be early birds and night owls, but new research shows that there's actually 4 different chronotypes, and knowing which one you are can really be helpful with managing your time and your sleep. So about 10% of the population are what we call dolphins, okay? These people wake up super early, go to bed really late, most often are diagnosed with insomnia because of this, but they're the really intelligent, scatterbrained, creative types. Then there's the other 15% of the population that we call lions, okay? These people wake up super early and they're just ready for the day. They're productive, but by like 12 to 3, they're just tired and they're done. Then there's another group that we call wolves, okay? These people hate the mornings and waking up. They're very introspective and introverted and very creative, but just at nighttime. And then we have the majority. 55% of people are bears. These people are able to get 8 hours of sleep and be fine, be productive in the mornings, be fine at night, you know? Like, they're happy-go-lucky, and I'm jealous of them. Let me know which chronotype you are so I can start giving you some advice. Insane history facts that school just didn't teach you. In 17th century Europe, it was very common for nannies to give young and teenage boys of the house handies to help them sleep at night. We used to have a plant called silphium that was an extremely effective birth control. Unfortunately, the ancient Romans just had way too much sex and the plant went extinct. Tampons were first invented in the 18th century to help stop the bleeding from bullet wounds. And they were like, okay, to help with the pain, let's put a little bit of our general anesthetic on the tampon. Except it was cocaine! They made cocaine tampons! And by the time women started using tampons, you know, for their periods, they kept the cocaine. They're like, yeah, it helps with period cramps. But like, why don't we have this anymore? Like, logically, I know why we don't, but as a person who experiences period cramps, bring it back. This is the cochineal beetle. When you take cochineal beetles and boil them, dry them, and grind them up, you get something called carmine, which is used as a food dye, and you've probably eaten it more than any other bug ever. I'm talking about Skittles, ketchup, yogurt, meat, red lipstick, and your strawberry-flavored Starbucks drinks. Pretty much any food or product that uses a red dye is red from the blood of the cochineal beetle. I'm uncomfy. Adult jokes in kids' movies that you missed because you were a stupid, oblivious child. In the movie Ratatouille, Alfredo gets caught talking to Remy in the freezer, but he can't be like, oh yeah, I was talking to the rat, so he's like, oh, I'm just familiarizing myself with the vegetables. So Chef Skinner has to remind him that one can get too familiar with vegetables, if you know what I mean. Jimmy Neutron was a Nickelodeon show with too many adult jokes to count, but by far my favorite one was when Jimmy's dad came out as a little bit fruity because he sat on a banana when he was 7, and of course, it changed his life. As a kid watching The Road to El Dorado, I was like, oh my god, Shell and Tulio got caught kissing, that's crazy. But as an adult, I know that she is nowhere near his face. When you make a bag of microwavable popcorn, that little slit at the bottom is used to shake out the kernels in the bag. Look at this. So many kernels. When you wear a bathrobe, you're not supposed to tie the rope around the back. Take it out and tie it through the front. It tightens so much more easily this way. If you store a cut avocado in some water in the fridge, it'll last 2 to 3 days longer than if you just left it in the fridge. Elvis Presley was actually a natural blonde, but he just started dyeing his hair black when he was a teenager. In the movie Wild Wild West, there's a hot tub scene where you can very clearly see Will Smith's balls. Samuel L. Jackson has a stutter, and he said the one thing that helped him with it, especially with acting, was saying motherfucker. George Foreman has 12 kids, and he named all 5 of his boys George Foreman. He even named one of his girls Georgette Foreman. Tom Cruise has a tooth in the middle of his face, and it's bothered me ever since somebody pointed it out. When a female lion is in heat, she wants to have sex 20 to 40 times a day, and if the male lion can't keep up, she'll resort to biting his balls until he does. I mean, look at that face. Most spiders shed an exoskeleton, so if you ever find a dead spider, it's probably just a husk and there's a slightly larger spider somewhere nearby. We really don't give fish enough credit. Like, it's been proven that they can learn to recognize their owners. Like, they can see outside of that aquarium. Which is why some countries have actually banned the circular fishbowl because they find it cruel to distort the fish's perspective. Lucid dreaming is where you become aware that you're in a dream and you can start to control everything. It's very fun, and here's how to do it. You need to start building up your dream recall, because what's the point of lucid dreaming if you won't remember it anyway? So what you need to start doing is keeping a journal by your bed, and every morning when you wake up, write as much about a dream as you remember. Throughout your day, start performing reality checks and look for abnormalities. They can be anything from pinching yourself to trying to touch your thumb to your pinky. Nothing weird here, not in a dream. But if you get into the habit of doing this, you will start doing it in your dreams and realize that you are asleep. Before you go to sleep, it also helps to drink some apple juice because this is going to make your dreams way more vivid. And then as you fall asleep, just repeat to yourself, I will control my dreams. By doing this, you're going to encourage your brain to be aware as you fall asleep, and therefore you should be able to lucid dream and do whatever you want. Get your mind out of the gutter. Elon Musk's dad, Errol Musk, is 75 years old, and he met his current baby mama when he was in his 40s. The only problem with that is she was 3 at the time, and he was her stepdad. This is Elon Musk's mom, May Musk. She's been modeling for over 50 years now, and she makes me want to eat a gallon of sunblock. Elon Musk also has a brother. His name is Kimball Musk, and he really likes to wear cowboy hats. I personally think that he's bald like Elon Musk used to be, but just didn't have the Daddy Musk money to fix it, so yeah. Here's some actually useful iPhone hacks that you didn't even know you needed. When I see people edit their home screen, what I usually see is somebody grabs an app and then move it over, and then they grab another app and they move it over. But a way more effective way to do this is grab an app and then just tap all the other apps that need to go over there with it. And just move it, place it, and you're done. If somebody ever takes your phone and tries to use your face to unlock the Face ID, all you have to say is, hey Siri, whose phone is this? It's gonna freeze it up, forcing you to have to use the password. If you ever feel like your iPhone just isn't loud enough for you, go to Settings, and then Music, and then under EQ, hit the late night option. This works by making loud sounds quiet and amplifying the quiet sounds, making the whole thing sound a lot better. Psychology tricks that work on kids that I know work because I'm the oldest of too many goddamn children. Kids are people, and people don't like being told no. But kids are kind of stupid, so try the but yes method.
Hey, Bella, you want to play a game?
No. Versus.
Hey, Bella, you want to play a game?
Yes, but I have to finish this video first.
Okay.
The next time you catch your kid lying, just tell them that you knew that they were lying because it was written on their tongue. If they're telling the truth, they'll show it. If not, they'll hide it. Cruz, did you drink my soda?
No.
Show me your tongue. Show me. Now I know you're lying. Just tell your kid that you're allergic to whining and start sneezing when they do.
But I want it!
What do you want?
I want it!
Do you want to know if your friends have good intentions or what your significant other actually thinks about you? Straight up, ask them, hey, what do you think about me? You're probably going to get a very quick, basic, positive response of, oh, you're so nice, funny, and sweet. This is where the fun happens. Now you're gonna ask them, well, what makes me so nice, funny, and sweet? This is gonna force them to dig deeper. The level of specifics and reasoning behind the basic answers reveals how much this person has thought about you in depth. But if they struggle to come up with answers, that usually means that they see you as a surface level person, which implies that they have bad intentions being in this relationship with you. Good luck. Do you want to give off psychopath vibes? Next time you go to put on chapstick, use both hands. And bonus points if you can make prolonged eye contact with somebody while doing so. Draw your S's from the bottom up. If you do this unironically, stay away from me. Next time you walk through a door and there's somebody kind of behind you, instead of doing the socially acceptable thing of holding the door open for them, close it and walk away. So I think everybody knows that the majority of the world is right-handed, about 90%. But did you know only 66% of the world is right-eyed? Like, your brain actually has a preference for which eye takes the most information. And you can figure out which one you are by sticking your arms out and making a triangle, and then focusing an object in the distance in the center of this triangle. Then you're gonna close each eye. And whichever eye keeps that object in the center of this triangle is the dominant eye, and whichever eye moves it is the weaker one. What's the most pain a human can experience? Coming in at number 6 is the torn Achilles heel. It's the strongest and longest tendon in your body, so if this tears, you're in for a rough ride. Number 5 is a tooth abscess. Swelling, infections, a root canal, and excruciating pain is all you have to look forward to with this one. Number 4 is childbirth. It's been described as being stabbed in the stomach, having your hips pulled apart, and your organs ripped out. Fun. Number 3 is tetanus. If you've ever been scratched by something rusty, you have to go get a tetanus shot. And everybody knows that tetanus shots hurt, but not as bad as actual tetanus, where all of your joints just lock up. In the number 2 spot, we have testicular torsion and ovarian torsion, where your baby-making parts get all twisted up and it can only be fixed with surgery. And at number 1, we have second-degree burns. Yes, third-degree burns are usually more serious and life-threatening, but because it has burnt off all your nerve endings, you won't actually feel anything past 20 seconds. Really weird human body facts that I can guarantee you didn't know. Humans are the only animals besides elephants that have a chin. Not even gorillas or chimpanzees have one, and nobody knows why. If you have a peanut allergy, that just means that you have Homo sapien ancestors and Neanderthal ancestors. And through all the inbreeding of the different species, you developed an overreacting immune system. Because your cells are constantly regenerating, you get a new skeleton every 10 years or so. I'm on my 3rd set right now. Hurts more than my 2nd, but it's fine. 3 times when actors weren't acting. In the movie Home Alone, the actor Daniel Stern had to have a tarantula put on his face, and he wasn't given a whole lot of heads up beforehand. So he was like, but aren't tarantulas poisonous? Yes. But won't that kill me? Not if you don't scare the spider, but I have to be screaming. Isn't that gonna scare the spider? Spiders don't have ears. And he was like, okay, and so we got this iconic scene. In the movie Zoolander asks, why are male models being used for evil? And JP gives a very long, lengthy, full answer. But in that time, actor Ben Stiller forgot his lines, so he just repeated himself. But why male models? And it fit his airheaded character so well that they just kept it in the movie. In the movie The Princess Bride, there's a scene where Wesley has to get knocked out, but they weren't able to get it to look as realistic as they wanted it to, so he was like, hit me. Just hit me with this very real metal sword in the head. And they did, and he woke up in the hospital. But at least the scene looks good. If you want to save some money on Christmas this year, right now is the perfect time to tell your kids that Santa didn't make it through the pandemic. If you ever get into a fist fight and win, make sure you call the other person an ambulance, because now not only have they just had their ass kicked, they also have to worry about the $5,000 ambulance ride. If you ever commit a crime, just go to Costco. This is going to act as a safety net because some of the police officers chasing you might not have a Costco membership and they won't be allowed in. Hey, how much longer until we're at the airport? Probably another 40 minutes. Oh, cool. Okay, man. Thank God for Henry Ford inventing the car, right? Or else we'd still be riding horses everywhere. Henry Ford didn't invent the car. A German engineer named Carl Benz did. Mercedes-Benz? What? Why would schools teach us that then? Yeah, Henry Ford just invented the assembly line in the 40-hour work week. Well, then at least the Wright brothers invented the airplane, or else we'd be driving for hours. You know there was an Indian man named Shivar Babuji Talbot that invented a working plane 9 years before the Wright brothers did? What? Yeah. You at least know about Thanksgiving, right? Yeah, the day that the Indians and the Pilgrims came and ate peacefully together. What do you mean? The Pilgrims killed 700 Native Americans before they ate. The feast was a celebration of their win. Okay, so do you mostly breathe out of your nose or your mouth? Because apparently there's a big difference between the two, and I made the wrong decision when I was younger. I chose to be a mouth breather because there was more oxygen that way, you know? Then I didn't like it, so I chose the mouth, but that was the wrong fucking choice. Nobody warned me that I was going to change my facial structure for the rest of my goddamn life. I would have chose nose breathing. This is the face of a nose breather. Notice the perfection of the jaw and the chin and the alert eyes bullshit. This is me. What the fuck? Okay guys, I have a psychology test for you that's gonna unlock a whole lot about your subconscious self that you don't even know about yet, okay? So when you answer, just go with your gut, don't overthink it, okay? Okay. Imagine you're walking through the woods with somebody else. Who's that person? Whoever you picked is the most important person in your life right now. As you guys are walking through the woods, you hear rustling coming from a bush and an animal pops out. What kind of animal is it and what do you do?
The size of the animal is the size of your stress, and what you did is how you usually react to that stress. You guys keep walking and you stumble upon a house. How big is the house? And do you see a fence? If you saw a fence, you're a closed-minded person. If there was no fence, you're an open-minded person. And the size of the house is the size of your ambition. You guys decide to go inside the house and you find a cup and a table. The durability of this cup is how strong you feel the relationship is with this person you're walking through the woods with, and the more stuff that you saw on the table is the happier you are. Okay, so you leave the house and you find a body of water. How big is it and how do you get across? The size of the water is the size of your sexual desire, and let's say you swam across it, you are much more likely to do something about your horny ass self than somebody who decided to walk around it. Hopefully you learned something about yourself today.
If you're tired of bad drivers and people just speeding around your neighborhood, one thing you can do is print out a picture of a random kid online and place it next to flowers. People should start going the speed limit after that. You should save the business cards of people that you don't like. That way, if you ever accidentally hit a car, you can just write sorry on the back of it and leave it on the windshield. Let's say you meet somebody on a dating app and you have a really good first date. One thing you can do is go to their profile and report it until they get banned. You just decreased their dating options and increased your chance of getting a second date. Psychology tricks that work on kids that I know work because I have like 11 siblings. If a toddler falls and you just don't make eye contact with them and act like everything is fine, there's a really good chance that they just won't cry. If you're having a hard time getting your kid to do something or eat something, just be like, it's fine. This is for big kids anyway. They're gonna want to do it now. Always give your kids the option or the illusion of options by saying, like, do you want to eat your carrots or your broccoli first? Or do you want to put on your left shoe or your right shoe first? They're gonna forget that no is even an option. What the fuck is wrong with the UK? In the United States, we call this exactly what it is. An eraser, because it erases the pencil off of the page. But in the UK, they call it a rubber. This is not a rubber. This is a rubber, and you're not erasing anything with this besides fucking maybe kids. Oh shit. Oh no! The rubber! It's broken!
You should get a sticker with a fake PIN number and put it on your debit card. That way, if it ever gets lost or stolen and someone tries to use it more than 3 times at the ATM, it'll eat the card and shred it. You can predict the height of a child with like 95% accuracy by just doubling the height that they were at the age of 2. Which means I was over 3 feet as a toddler. If you ever drop something like an earring or a screw, just turn off all the lights and use the flashlight on your phone. The thing that you lost is gonna light up right away.
Psychology tricks to make somebody instantly like you. Instead of responding right away to somebody when they say something to you, wait a couple seconds. This is gonna make them feel like you're really thinking about what you're trying to say and makes you seem like a better listener. Call people by their name in casual conversation. People love it when other people say their name. It makes them feel important and appreciated. Obviously, don't go overboard with this. You're gonna come off as creepy being like, hi, Bella, how's your day been, Bella? I love your shoes, Bella. Just be cool. Ask people to do small favors for you. Be like, hey, can you pass the salt? Or hey, can I borrow a pen? People are gonna subconsciously think that they already like you because they're doing a favor for you. So to help with cold or flu symptoms, as cliche as it sounds, make sure you drink a fuck ton of water because it'll thin out all the mucus, and eat some chicken noodle soup because it's an anti-inflammatory. And if you have a stuffed up nose, one thing that can help clear your sinuses is by pressing your tongue to the roof of your mouth and your thumb on your third eye. For whatever reason, this will give you a few minutes of relief. And let's say you have a really bad cough, one thing that has always helped is by taking a slice of lemon, pouring some salt on that, and then pouring some black pepper. Just suck on this. Not worry about your cough anymore. Before you make any big life decisions, just remember the word halt. Make sure you're not hungry, angry, lonely, or tired before you make that decision. You'll thank me later. If you ever have to use a public restroom, always use the stall that's closest to the door because people have a tendency to try and do their business as far away from the entrance as possible, so that one is going to be the cleanest. Walking 3 miles will always burn more calories than running 1 mile, and it's easier to listen to an audiobook, music, or a podcast while walking. Guys, unless you say that you don't want to do this, after you die, your loved ones could technically ask the doctor to electrocute your prostate to force you to produce sperm. Talk about a deadbeat dad. Studies have shown that people with dark eyes are more prone to seasonal depression than people with light eyes. If you ever get a blood transfusion but accidentally get the wrong blood type, one of the symptoms is a sense of impending doom. Go up to your crush and ask them what their favorite movie is, and no matter what they say, just tell them that you haven't seen it. And if they're like, oh my god, we should watch it sometime, they like you. But if they're like, oh my god, you should totally watch it, no. If you're ever on a date with somebody and the conversation kind of gets boring, just ask them what they would do if money wasn't a part of the equation. This is going to lead to a deeper conversation and a much more meaningful connection with this person you're trying to seduce. If you ever ask for somebody's phone number and they actually give it to you, but for some reason you just feel like it's a fake, read it back to them incorrectly. And if they correct you, it's legit. But if not, they're not into you at all. The dark web is a semi-secret part of the internet that engines like Google can't get you to, that people use to do things without being seen. Here's how much things cost there. You can buy stolen Netflix accounts for only $1. You can get stolen credit card information depending on the limit for about $10 to $65. You can hire a hitman for as little as $10,000. And if you don't necessarily want to kill somebody, but you just want them to go missing, that's about $60,000. And yeah, attack dogs are cool and all, but you can get your very own attack gorilla for $400K. Here's a dark psychology trick to make anybody fall in love with you. This is 100% manipulation. I do not recommend doing this to anybody because it is super toxic, and I'm only making a video on it so you can at least be aware if it's happening to you. It's just a 3-step hot and cold technique where you first have to build up a pattern of pleasure and validation, just making this person feel amazing around you. And then you have to break it. Emotionally and physically, you have to pull away from them because this is going to make them feel insecure, like shit, and most importantly, the need to chase and get that validation back from you that they just got addicted to. And then you just have to turn that on button back on again and start validating them. This is going to make them fall in love with you, but in a very unhealthy attachment style. You know, until they figure out what the fuck you're doing. Good luck. Here's a subtle psychology trick to see what your friends actually think about you, but be careful because this might ruin some friendships. Text the person that you want to try this out on, friends, friends, friends. For whatever reason, when somebody sees a word 3 times, it leaves an impression in their mind. Then, after they see those texts, ask them to pick a number between 1 and 10. They're subconsciously going to pick a number that they associate with you, with 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. And then after, make sure that you send them this video, that way they can at least see how you just expose the fuck out of them. 3 times that actors weren't acting. In the movie Elf, Will Ferrell's character Buddy has to test out some Jack-in-the-Boxes that he's absolutely terrified of because of the jump scare. And this reaction is genuine because the director was sitting off camera with a remote, just having them randomly pop out to scare him. In the movie Jaws, they decided not to tell the actress who's the first person to get attacked that there was going to be a machine in the water that was going to actually attack her and pull her under. So her screams of just pure terror are as real as they can be. In Now You See Me, there's a magic trick where Isla Fisher has to get chained and put in an underwater tank. And in the scene, she struggles a bit, she can't get out, and appears to be drowning. This is real. Isla Fisher says that the chains got stuck at the bottom and she was actually drowning and nobody had any idea until a stuntman thought it was going on a little too long and saved her life.